Hello everyone, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be discussing big news that's developing. China's interference in Canada this time. Two of their elections newly discovered that in 2021, 2019 federal election was influenced with Chinese bribery. The leader of Canada, Justin Trudeau, is in some deep moose doo-doo. So now in both Canada and America, we find the same situation. It's a parallel situation. So this actually lends credibility to both sides, on both sides of the border. And I got to ask the question, where's Russia? They're nowhere to be found. So yeah, I got this up. Insidious, having a gradual or an cumulative effect, subtle, developing so gradually as to be well established before becoming apparent, awaiting a chance to entrap, treacherous, harmful but enticing, seductive. Just like TikTok, these beautiful girls dancing around, and all your personal information is going on TikTok. Your name, your email address, whatever information that you gave to TikTok is all now with Xi Jinping. And he also knows if you like ladies with whatever preferences, or my personal favorite. Never mind. Anyway, I'm off topic. So I want to talk to you. Here's a book. I'm just going to mention this. This is a Chinese book, The Art of War. Sun Tzu on the Art of War. A psychopathic book, basically, on military strategy, written by the ancient Chinese general Sun Tzu. Here are a couple of quotes from the book to get a better understanding of CCP leadership. They live by this stuff, right? So we should all, not live by this. This is the Art of War. But they apply this to, let's say, their work life, apply this to their co-workers, or they apply it to their marriage. The Art of War, if you can imagine. Remote is like, I guess, arguing over the remote. Who gets the remote? So they live by this stuff, but we should all live by, of course, the art of love. So some live by this book, and philosophies like it is part of the reasons why there's problems in the world. So this is I just want to introduce this book. Everybody should, take a look at this. But it's psychopathic. The Art of War is of vital importance to the state. The state meaning the government. So the government is going to actually apply this book, and the concepts inside of it. And so I just want to look at just a couple of them. Warfare is based on deception. Look up. Here it is here. Number 18. All warfare is based on deception. So, this quote highlights the importance of lying and deceiving. Sun Tzu believed that successful military leaders must be able to deceive their enemies and conceal their true intentions. So that means anything, if you apply these to the state, CCP, government, Chinese Communist Party, see that that's exactly what they're doing. So when you have something based on this, a government based on this, it's going to be a lot of problems there. It's going to keep pushing out, and basically trying to take everything as a war, right? So it's going to be taking everything over. So I just want to show you that. In war, the way is to avoid the strong and to strike the weak. Look this up. So in war, the way is to avoid what is strong and to strike at what is weak. This is the way. It's not the way, but it's their way. So Sun Tzu argued that it is better to avoid direct confrontation with a strong enemy and instead focus on attacking their vulnerabilities. They've been avoiding our technologically superior military and hitting us where we're weak. So I'm going to ask you, Where are we weak? Hint. Starts with a P and rhymes with abolition. So the answer will be at the end of the video. So remember, the number one thing that China gets from their bribery is that the democratic countries of the West continue to buy every crappy product that they produce. That's number one. Numero uno benefit. That's why there's all kinds of other things that are mentioned in the newspaper. And what they don't mention is the number one benefit, which is what I just said. So there's still people out there saying, oh, well, this is just a conspiracy. Hunter Biden doesn't run the country, and who cares about the laptop, and la 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 la. Everyone is one big coincidence, right? So we actually got some pretty solid stuff here. You know, this is information from this is Canadian CIA, which is CSIS. So CSIS documents reveal Chinese strategy to influence Canada's 2021 election. This gets pretty serious. This is globeandmail, and the article is so watered down. It's limited by something. I just get the feeling when I read it. They can't spit out the truth. It's trying to tell the truth. But anyway, we're going to take a look at that. But CISIS, I don't call it CIS, I call it CSIS. I like CSIS. I call it CSIS. Yeah, so it's Canadian thing. This is what we do here in Canada. We just drink maple syrup straight out of the bottle. We live in igloos, things like that. So that's the only difference there is, so we go around in these parkas and lumberjackets, toques, and we have maple syrup dispensers in the lunch room. So that's basically the only difference there. Credibility, maybe. So there's a parallel thing going on in Canada. It legitimizes the reality of the Biden bribery from episode 1. And that is going on in America as well. So if you're beginning to see the credibility of the story building up, maybe. And this brings us to the episode number, here we are, episode number 8. China's interference in Canada's 2021 election, and the other one as well, 2019 federal election. And what you need to know. So yeah, I'm going to be talking a lot about CSIS. The difference between CSIS and the CIA. So they have beavers, I guess, by their side. Who needs satellite surveillance when you have like a furry little beaver? I like a beaver, right, by your side, right? So anyway, I digress. Let's get on to this. So this is. Let me just break this article down for you before I read specific passages. So over the past decade, China has been more aggressively exporting its fascism. So these CSIS documents show the full extent of their interference operation. They keep using that word. It's espionage, basically. So the intelligence reports reveal that China employed a sophisticated strategy to disrupt Canada's democracy in the 2021 federal election. Chinese diplomats are involved in espionage. They should be kicked out of the country. The embassies should be closed. Also, this article refers to something called proxies. There's another nice, beautiful word. What's a proxy? So the word proxy is just a generic term for anyone who acts on behalf of someone else. I hate the word because it means nothing, right? So in this case, acting on behalf of the fascist CCP government. So using my imagination, the CCP must be hiring people in our country and in Canada. They must be hiring organizations, businesses, right in both of our countries. But anyway, that still has to be clarified. But it's quite the word proxy. They shouldn't use that word, but if they could get more specific with that. But anyway, I'm using my imagination. That's probably what it is anyway. So diplomats, CCP agents, people they hired, and immigrants that were already in the country itself. They organized and backed the re-election of Justin Trudeau's Liberals and worked to defeat the conservative politicians. They did that because conservative politicians are considered to be unfriendly to Beijing. There's some pretty serious stuff, and the CSIS documents reveal that China's former consul general in Vancouver boasted or bragged in 2021 about how she helped defeat 2 conservative MPs. So China employed disinformation campaigns and proxies connected to Chinese Canadian organizations in Vancouver and Toronto, which have large Chinese immigrant communities. They coerced them, they influenced them, or extorted them to voice opposition to the conservatives and favor the Trudeau Liberals. Like, this is espionage. This is true interference. They always talk about Russian interference in our elections. Literally, there is none. You can't say, oh, they put a couple hundred Facebook ads and that's the extent of that's supposed to be Russian interference. They put a bunch of comments in Facebook and that's Russian interference. No, this is specific, very, very specific instances that are working, basically espionage on steroids that's working right here in the United States, right in 2 countries now. Like, it's, anyway, I don't have the words for it. It's just so amazing. It's just so mind-blowing. So if you think about Russian, let me get down to what I'm supposed to be reading here. So if you think about a Russian agent, he's going to go to America, or American agent goes to Russia. They take their little shots of whatever top secret documents, and they hightail it out of there. These guys, they just, with absolutely no fear at all, are just setting up, looks like they're setting up shop and hiring people and just completely and totally unstopped, like no unimpeded espionage, totally completely unimpeded espionage. How does that happen? It's just, I'm gonna go crazy here in a second. So here's this important thing. Interference operations. Okay, let's go to the green. So a key part of their interference is mind-blowing. Listen up to this. Interference operation is to influence vulnerable Chinese immigrants in Canada. The intelligence reports, quote, an unnamed Chinese consulate official as saying it's easy to influence Chinese immigrants to agree with the PRC stance. What's the PRC? Stands for People's Republic of China. So basically CCP agents come in and they're easy to influence, they're saying. So let's talk about that for 1 second. So the immigrants here, I hope, hopefully the vast majority are on our side. Some percent are diehard Chinese nationalists, maybe. They've been living here for a while, so you figure they have allegiance to our countries. But so the first question is, like, who let them into the country? And another question is, are these like so-called immigrants? They're like set up immigrants, like who are designed or trained for interference operations or basically espionage. That's the first possibility. Maybe a percentage of them are. And then the other percentage could be legitimate immigrants that are on our side. However, they're being approached by CCP agents here in our country. Then they're manipulated because they still have friends and family back in China. So I'd say it's more like extortion, not influence or manipulation, or it's extortion. So the bad guys will use this as leverage. They're going to threaten to make their loved ones live difficult lives or will suffer imprisonment if they don't cooperate. Something bad, really bad, it's going to happen to your friends and family back home if you don't help us. So these are my words, my own words. I'm extrapolating here because of this incredible statement. If you read it, the implications, what they're not saying in this paragraph, is more amazing than what they're saying. So between the lines, this is what it is. These two possibilities. They're either trained to go there, or that they were extorted to, to do what they have to do. But anyway, let's move on. So, yeah, the Globe and Mail. It seems like they're, the Globe and Mail cannot say what I just said, or they'd be like censored. So when I read the article, it's though something is holding them back. So do you see how, like, maybe the concept of racism, or if I'm going to say I'm going to offend somebody racially or something like that, is being used to take away the freedom of speech or prevent the truth from coming out. So spit the truth out, for crying out loud, right? So, and this next paragraph is pretty amazing as well, too. Let's read it. China wants to build acceptance abroad for its claims on Taiwan. So this is what it wants. This is part of what it wants. It's already getting, like what I was saying, we're buying all its products and not getting sanctioned like Russia is. Even though, where's Russia? I don't know. A self-ruled island that it considers a breakaway province and still reserves the right to annex by force. It's just going to take Taiwan. And it seeks to play down its conduct in Xinjiang. Xinjiang, there's a big story behind Xinjiang. So where the office of former UN Human Rights Commissioner last year said China has committed serious human rights violations in the region, which may amount to crimes against humanity. Like, it doesn't talk about Xinjiang. It should talk at least a paragraph on. I'm going to talk about a paragraph on this whole situation, what they're talking about here. That's pretty serious. That's crimes against humanity. And this involves, if you heard about it in the news, it's a certain ethnic minority in a part of China. They're called the Uyghurs. And then all kinds of horrible things happen to them. Labor camps. Some of them were killed, tortured, re-educated, taken away from their homes, real fascist type stuff, So here they are on a proxy. So you could see what the word proxy is. Such a general word, means nothing. But anyway, here's the Uyghurs, and they're so, absolutely adorable. Take a look at some of the pictures of them. Colorful clothing. Oh, that's so adorable. And see, this tells a lot. This tells a pretty big story here. This poor little boy. So 3 Miljoen, I happen to speak Uyghur language. This says 3 million. And this is the way they spell their own, what they are, Uyghurs. Uyghurs. In other words, so anyway, 3 million Uyghurs in China's concentration camps. So this is terrible, right? This is fascism, concentration camps. So we see sad faces here. So cute. They're basically like an Arabic, but they might be a cross between Arabic and Asian. They might be more Arabic than Asian, actually. See, that's so adorable. But anyway, those are the Uyghurs and all of the brutality against these poor people, unfortunately. So let's move along here. Where are we? Embracing and choosing China's foreign police stations. I should have actually showed you this first. So they're operating out of, besides CCP agents and besides the embassies and the immigrants that are already there, and like I said, they set up shop in many countries all over the world. So China operating over 100 police stations across the world, with the help of some host nations, report claims. So, and these are like little bases, espionage bases. It's the only way I can describe it, under the guise of, oh, we're here because we're going to give licenses or something. I don't know. But, yeah, so, yeah, so there's that.